Why is it that you are here and where you're at?
But what you're saying, or at least what I'm hearing you say, and I'd love for you to pick it up from there, Lisa, to kind of play out a little bit more depth, those three containers that you built for us. But you got to lay down the railroad tracks of your day first, right? Because if you just wake up at the last possible minute, right? Because Lord knows we've all lived that life. And then you just immediately get sucked into the vortex of the rest of the day. There's no energy for the difficult thought or the more creative or inventive conversation. You didn't fill up your filament on your light bulb first to be able to give that light away to the rest of the world in service, right? So that's kind of what I'm hearing you say. However you get there, you got to create the energy first to be able to then have the whole concept of turning this negative into a positive. Would you say that's fair, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, it is for me. I think it also, I also think about the difference in people's rhythms. So I'm married to a man who, he's an owl. I'm more of a lark, not quite as early of a rising lark as my sister is at this point. But for me, morning practice is really important. So the first thing I do is I sit in my grandmother's rocking chair, and I have been doing my practices for the last 20 some odd years in my grandmother's rocking chair. So that anchors me to my past. And I chant mantra in the Yashodhara ashram tradition. So I had been doing more of a centering prayer, which is a quiet introspective practice, and found once I was introduced to mantra chanting that aligned a little bit better with who I am as a person. So I will chant for a length of time, and then I go into my prayer time, my intercessory prayer. I also do some additional Yashodhara yoga practices and some morning stretching. And then I have later practices in the day as well. So my major mantra or yoga practice, my asana practice, posture practice, is in the afternoon or early evening. And then I also consider a practice of being out in nature every day. I'm out on a trail or in my garden, connecting with Divine Mother every day, because I don't want to forget about the gift that we have in creation, and it's why I'm here. So I think we all need to get really clear about what our purpose is. Why are you here now in this life during the COVID-19 pandemic? Why is it that you are here and where you're at? So, it's a big question. That's why we're all here. We're embodied to figure that out in this lifetime for ourselves. So I'm pretty clear about what my purpose is. I'm not going to share it with you right now, but I know what my purpose is. And then we need to live our purpose. And it's so easy, like you were saying, Jesse, to get so distracted. The values in the world right now are not lined up. They're not in right relationship with where we need to be with the divine, with each other, and with our planet. And this is the pause. It's the pause that we get time to introspect. The pause that people who've been spending, I'm lucky, my commute, if I had a commute, is 5 minutes. I don't have, I left that life many decades ago.
You created that luck.
Bingo. I've created the life that I live. I have an amazing life. And I don't covet a lot of stuff. In fact, I'd like to get rid of a lot of my stuff that I have accumulated, which is freeing for people too. And there are people that may need those things. So I think part of it is like making a commitment to yourself to get things right now.
Michelle, I don't know where you would want to take this, but I'm super interested and curious. And I think this even comes from a good place that we can both relate to. You, the Montana mystic who, left things and went up and did that deal, right? Me, our deal. We went up to the foothills and, got some land, stretch out, put 30, 40 fruit trees into the ground, within the first couple months of being there, made a kitchen garden, the girls run around, so there's a lot of these themes now which are coming into popularity due to necessity. But maybe if there's one thing you could maybe hit on each of those, Lise, to sort of leave us a little better than how you found us here. So you introduce us to the architecture, and I love that. Now, how can I find myself in it? Like, what's the first step I could do, the closest step, the first step closest in maybe each one of those categories, divine, people, or earth?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think one is, and I realize being a spiritual director, is that not everybody is on a faith path. And so I think we need to afford ourselves a lot of spaciousness when it comes to using that. I'm comfortable with God language and divine language, and other people are not. So I think it's trying to find that space where you're connecting with a purpose bigger than yourself, with the energy big, with the universe. It's the big picture. And then the next one is kind of drilling down to, and I'm not sure, I didn't really answer your question, Jesse, but so what could you do? Maybe I would say, watch a bird. Everybody has birds, no matter where you live. And I was just on an Audubon, I think it was the California Audubon website, and they had sent me an email about doing a bird sit. Find a place where you can sit for 15 minutes and see what birds you might be able to find and identify. That's a spiritual practice. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. You can do that with your kids. Yeah. Everybody can let's do a bird sit together on a park bench, or sitting on the back steps outside if we've got a little yard, or taking a bird walk in a neighborhood. Birds are everywhere. Pigeons, crows, even in urban settings, you're going to find birds. So that might be one thing to do. Another one, in terms of, look at your relationships. Look at your immediate relationships, and how are you connecting to those that you say in your heart that you love? How are you connecting to them? How can you move outside of maybe yourself for just a brief moment and see what they may need to hear from you? So that might be something to do on the community level. And then you can take that out into your neighborhood, into your community, whatever the way you define that. And then I will tell you this, next Wednesday, the 22nd of April, one of my favorite holidays. It's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. It is the time we celebrate this amazing planet that supports everything we do. Without this planet, none of us can be. And so what small thing can you do in honor of the planet? I know I was on a Green Faith call shortly before we gathered, and we're doing virtual pray-ins for the earth. I've actually put out, I want to do a virtual chant-in with my Yashodra sisters out there and brothers, and in honor of the mother. What small thing might you be able to do to support the planet that supports you?
That's a beautiful invitation.
Michelle, I feel like I've been doing all the talking. I'd love to hear from you.
Wow. Well, I was deeply enthralled by my sister's invitations. And what came up for me is I thought, what can I do? And just to kind of combine my neighborhood and my community and the planet, and the reminder that the 22nd to honor the planet that has provided for us. And I thought, even if it's just to go outside and pick up the litter on the street, and just like to leave it better than we found it in that moment, right? So thank you for that. And I will probably reach out and invite my grandkids and make a game of it, and maybe we'll sit and enjoy a sunset where, they're 3.5 hours away, but maybe we will watch a sunset. My grandkids love to watch the sunset. And have a pretty, I mean, they live in the Central Valley, so it's not like they live on the ocean where they can go watch the sunset, but we all can watch the sunrise and the sunset.
That's right.
So, you know, thank you for the awareness and the mindfulness for that.
Lisa, what I heard you say, if I might, so, you know, welcome to kick me in the shins from across the Zooms right now if I got any of this wrong, but, you know, the idea of you know, how do I look at this situation and say, okay, where's the opportunity? You know, there's a negative thing coming in, incoming. Okay, how do I transmute that? And sort of the first element of it is to look at it from a perspective almost of universal energy, right? Mm-hmm. So we all might get there in a different way. I love what you had shared there, Michelle, about how you get there. And then once there, like, how do we answer the question of not wasting this time? And that chunking down of those three categoricallys, like you've got the divine, you've got the people in your community, and then you've got the planet. And I love the thought of how simple that is. And what I know to be true, and what I'm sure you already know to be true, because it's your suggestion, is it's just going to make me feel a little bit better. I might just be 1% better. And that's the momentum of the difference that makes the difference, that then sets the trajectory of the course, which gets us into that positive forward thinking thought.
And it's all within your control. So when it's all within our control. It's about our choices. You have the choice to do it. And it doesn't have to be hard. And I think that's what's really important. Doesn't mean it won't be hard down the road, but in that moment, it doesn't have to be hard.
Well said. Well, Michelle, you know her better than anybody. So how will you take us out then on this?
No, I'm grateful for this triad right here. Thank you, sister. I love you. I honor you. I respect you. And to you, my friend Jessie, the same. Emotional for me right now, but thank you. Thank you for letting me connect us. And to everybody out there that's watching this, that maybe you have one little takeaway, that we can leave the planet and create relationships that are more meaningful and intentional. Mm-hmm. So, and be in connection and conversation with your higher power, whatever that may look like to you.
Much light to you. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you. You're a gift. I don't know if you're on the Facebooks or not. Is that true? Are you on the Facebooks, Lisa?
I'm on Facebook.
Perfect.
Well, she's not on Instagram, but she does. She'll get on Facebook occasionally.
About once a week. Yeah.
Well, you brought up some pretty high-arching, beautiful architecture of thoughts and for us to find ourselves in. So if there's anything you want to ask Lisa direct, I'm sure they can hit you up in the comments. So appreciate you too. All right.
All right.
Be well.
Blessings of light, everybody.
All right.
Bye.